again. So, again, thank you for being with us every year, non-stop, maybe for 7 years in a row. Thank you very much for your support and for your trust. Let's start from what's going at E&D Group lately. From traditional to transformative. What's inspired E&D transition from Telco to Techcos?
Okay, so let me first start by saying hello to everyone. It's nice this week to address people as dear friends because a lot of friends here in the room. I think in the last week in COP, everything starts with excellencies and everybody has a big title to start with. So it's great to be within friends. I think the key reason for our transformation and transition is the search of customer intimacy and shareholder returns. As a lot of people here in the telecom industry know that over the years, we have been marginalized, we have been pushed to become a utility. I think that over the years, there were many tries of trying to grow more than telecom by having different services, value-added services that become the next big thing. But we never really found that next big thing. So the thesis we have here in our transformation is we're not going to try to find something that doesn't exist. We actually will look into all our adjacencies and either invest or build something that competes with them. So the same way that 15 years ago, WhatsApp decided to go and compete with SMS at the time, or even before WhatsApp, the BlackBerry Messenger competes with SMS, and eventually no one uses SMS other than verification now. These services started offering more, and now we're looking at these services. So we're looking into video streaming, a very successful service. There is no one in the world now who doesn't have video streaming. And we looked into which is the very successful platform in our region, StarsPlay. We invest in StarsPlay. We look into super app space. We see one of the most successful super apps in the region, Kareem. We invest in Kareem. And some other things we built. So looking and like in many other telco operators around the world in fintech, we built our own fintech platform. We have eMoney, which has grown in 2 years to become the most used fintech app in the UAE. We have in Saudi, Mobile Pay, which is growing very fast. STC Pay was before, but we're catching up over time. In Egypt, we have Etisalat Cash, which is also growing, so that's another adjacency. Some of these adjacencies make money now, some of them will make money in the future. And the advantage of being a telecom and technology group is that we are there long-term to stay. We have infrastructure, we are there physically. Some of the OTT players don't look at our markets as a key market for them, while our markets, everything is key for us. So we believe with this thesis, we'll be able to create growth, not for this year and next year only, but for the next decades.
Thank you. But all this development or changing or transformation have a lot of challenges. Where do you think the most important challenge you're facing?
I think the challenge we have is how to run these companies with an entrepreneurial way and run them separate, but at the same time, get the most synergy. So that very fine line between trying to centralize and have everything run as one company, but at the same time have the freedom and the speed of movement, I think this fine balancing act, I think, is the most challenging part of this journey. Because you want to be able to compete directly with the Netflix of this world, with the other super apps of this world. At the same time, you want to utilize and leverage the scale that we have as a large telco company as well. So you want to put the telco plus the adjacencies, and make it a fully functioning Techco.
How is E&D making a difference and impact in enabling a sustainable future?
In
Enabling sustainable future.
sustainability, I think I've been talking about
Especially
sustainability
now,
for
you
for
talking for last 4 days maybe.
6 days.
6 days.
6 days
At
of
COP
sustainability,
28.
so I can talk a lot about that. So I think, again, as setting up the company for growth on the long term, one of the very important aspects is ESG overall and sustainability and climate. So we were the first telco in the region last year to announce that for the UAE will be net zero in scope 1 and scope 2 by 2030. And yesterday we have announced that we intend to be net zero for the entire group for scope 1 and scope 2 by 2040, which is 10 years ahead of most of our, let's say, competitors or other players and lots of companies, as the global direction is to be there by 2050. And we are doing that through lots of ways. We are doing that through decreasing our power consumption overall. In the UAE, in 1 year since we announced our targets, we have already reduced our consumption, our power consumption by 23%. We are also doing power purchase agreements for renewable energy so that the power, and as you know in ICT, more than 80% of the power we use is coming from the grid. So by getting from the grid green energy, this enables us also to reduce our carbon footprint. We are also, in the way we do business, we are changing things. So for example, if you're based here, you see a lot of cars with the E&D branding on them, either technicians visiting sites or installing routers at homes and so on. We've been transforming the fleet to electric vehicles. Then we saw the opportunity that there is not enough charging stations for electric vehicles. So one of our investments is Charge and Go, which is a company that provides electric vehicle charging stations, and we've already have the first stations installed, and you will see the Charge and Go brand all over the UAE over the coming 18 months, as we are making now more contracts in more areas to build these charging stations. And this is only part of what we're contributing to sustainability. The other part is actually enabling other industries as well. So at the moment, we have launched sustainability as a service. So within EN Enterprise, we are helping other companies that are trying to get to sustainability by creating more smart and sustainable offices, sustainable homes, in factories and in other industries. We're installing systems that allow them to measure. And as you know, the measurement is the first stage of being able to control your carbon emissions. So we have the measurement, then we're using AI to optimize power consumption. So we are working with companies, individuals, and governments to also optimize energy using the infrastructure that we have. So on one side, we are improving ourselves, and we're also helping other people improve.
Thank you. What is the role of new technologies, such as artificial intelligence, in helping industries to decarbonize?
I think a great example of what we have now, we've launched a program where we are looking into using AI to decrease the power consumption of our radio sites. And basically what happens is radio sites that have lower traffic at night, we can vary the power consumption as less people, for example, people are sleeping at night, we don't need the same transmission because we don't need the same size of the network at night, we're able to reduce the power consumption at night. In some areas, even some sites might be switching on and off as no one is on the sites. For example, on some roads at some points of the day, maybe there is no one there, you can seriously decrease the power consumption. And all these things add together to decrease the carbon footprint, and that uses AI. We also use AI in lots of other applications in business, of course. We use it in customer care. We use it in, for example, now as we're going in fintech, in models, for example, for credit rating for customers, and so on and so on. We can have so many applications. At the moment, we have 450 different applications of AI within our business. I expect they will be in the thousands in the coming months.
Thank you. How is EAN harnessing the synergies of technology and sustainable development to propel ESG initiatives and stimulate sustainable actions? Also within the COP28 maybe.
Yeah. Look, I think also you need to remember that EAN is not only operating in the UAE. We operate in 16 markets, soon to be 20 markets. And some of these markets are in real, not just emerging, but frontier markets. So we have emerging markets like Egypt and Pakistan, but we have also markets in West Africa that are depending entirely on mobile connectivity for the development. So they have no fixed infrastructure. The mobile communication enables everything from trade to fintech, using money, so people there don't use banks as much as they do here. People rely on mobile money. People rely on the different, one of the things we're talking about sustainability, we talked about in COP, is disaster early warning systems using the mobile network. So even for something like floods, tsunamis, earthquakes, and so on, mudslides, you're able to predict these things. And some of it, by the way, you can predict now using AI, and then you can use the mobile phone functionality of broadcast messages to broadcast to people that are in the areas impacted and warn them before the disaster happens. And in areas where this happened, we have seen that the amount of impact in terms of casualties has drastically been reduced using these technologies. So there are lots of things that we can do.
Thank you. You just mentioned that you're operating 16 countries, will be soon 20. Can we know where is this 4 countries?
Yeah, the 4 countries,
Yes.
it's been announced. It's Hungary, Slovakia, Bulgaria, and Serbia.
The last acquisition
The PPF.
you did. Okay.
Yeah, so it's not counted yet because we have not
okay.
got the final approvals, but soon.
Okay, one more question. You did a lot of acquisition last 2 years. Which of the acquisitions do you think it's very promising?
No, I think we don't do any acquisitions unless we think it's very promising. So all of them, I think, are very promising.
No, we just quick ranking.
No, I think no. I think we try to make sure that we continue to grow our customer base from Telco, because Telco is first is where the money is generated today and where our shareholders look to see the returns on the shorter term. At the same time, the Telco is the platform where we can cross-promote the other services. So by expanding, for example, with the PPF group in Eastern Europe, this adds to us 10 to 15 million customers in very interesting markets that also are still in the development phase in terms of market digitalization. So we can add a lot of things there. But at the same time, we see things like Kareem, we see things like Stars Play, that will create the big returns and revenues maybe 5 to 10 years from now. So we do a mixture. All of them are promising, but some are going to be short-term in terms of delivery and will continue to deliver with us. But some of them, we have invested today. We know the returns will not come today, but the promise in the future is also very big. So all of them, I think, are fitting well.
Okay, which one more promising? Investing in telcos or in techno?
Look, I think
Techco.
I believe that telcos are a great investment, but we have become to a great extent like a utility. You know exactly the kind of returns that are there. In different regions, of course, the returns are different, but the growth in telco, and we have seen that across the world in the past years, it's at best single digit. So we know it will not grow more than single digit. While in the tech space, if you have a winner in the tech space, you can double every year and continue to double 10 or 15 years in a row. And this is where you see giants like Amazon, like Google, today are taking that space. When you look at even a company like Apple that make devices, but now you look at the percentage of revenues they are getting from the subscription services that they now offer with their devices, and that's their future. Because today, and again, if you think about it, today they are making money still from selling laptops and iPhones and etc. But with the growth curve they have on the other side, on the service side, in the future, that's where they will make their money. This is the same like Amazon. So Amazon, historically, is a company that is an online e-commerce and marketplace. Now, AWS is generating more for Amazon overall than the original business. So that's what we're trying to do. So we're trying to keep the telco, which is our core business, but we think 10, 15 years from now, the tech side will be generating, hopefully, all the growth and as much, if not more, money.
AWS, you make them happy. Look, the smile. You have to raise your hand, not only smiling.
I can see.
Yeah, it is. Okay, you know, yesterday we had big launch of some towers company investment between Zain and Dorido Group. Just a question on the side. Is the group is going to do something in the tower as investment or the infrastructure of towers?
Actually, I think it completely depends one country to the other. For example, when we did the deal in Eastern Europe, we bought the business there has already sold their infrastructure and towers, and we actually bought 51% or 50+1 shares of the ServCo, but we also bought 50+1 shares of the TowerCo as well. So I think towers are very interesting if you run them efficiently with a commercial mindset. And in some markets, it doesn't necessarily make sense because, for example, I can give you the UAE market. We work very closely with Du, and we already share a lot of towers. So a tower company will not be able to create extra gain because we already are sharing towers. Same thing we see in markets like Egypt. In Egypt, more than 75% of the towers are shared by the 3 operators in Egypt. So a tower company will not be able to generate that much additional revenue. But in other markets, of course, it makes sense, especially when you can get a lot of the operators on the same tower. It's also better from a sustainability point of view.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Toni.
So I wish you good luck and more expansion. We're following your step.
Next year, we'll see the 20 will become how many next year?
We will have Telecom Europe already active.
Inshallah. Very good. Thank you.